You, me, Karen, and one other.
We are live. Excuse me while I just cough my guts up. But I'm going to aim, for those of you that are in there, for the 2 hours again tonight. We'll see how we go. My breathing ain't too good at the moment. We've got audio on there, quite a bit of lag though.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everybody. Karen, obviously Mrs. W, and the other 6 that are hovering in the background. Good evening, YouTube. I dare say they're in there somewhere. Marines, good evening, buddy. Hope you're all good so far this week. It's been a long one, innit, with everything going on, but I'm just sorting my bloody notes out here.
It's Jen.
Jen, hello. Starmer and his net zero. Off in the private jet again, eh? Hopefully Trump will rip him a new one. That would be nice. Put him in his place. But apparently he's taking Chubby Cheeks with him, old David Lammy. So, we can expect a few more thousand expenses going his way. How he likes to have the best of the food and drink, shall we say. But it's going to be interesting because obviously there'll be stuff out there that Trump will put out, and that will be probably in mainstream media. And we'll see if that tallies what Comrade Starmer says when he gets back. Lambs, yeah. All right, Jen, no worry. Get the brush, mate. It'd be easier with a roller. But yes, a few things have been put in place, least of all, as I said in the video today, about the extra police powers. Good evening, Stitch, and Little Stitch, if you're there. Hiya, buddy. Some of it, again, we're going to protect the women and the kids. Well, they've been promising that since they got in power, and they haven't been doing very well at it, have they? From what I've been seeing, people still ringing up, reporting offences, and still nothing's done. They prefer to go around hassling people that post memes on Facebook. Even if you've deleted them, they'll still come after you. I'm really surprised the clowns haven't knocked on my door yet with some of the things I put out in the videos, but maybe that's why some of them are close to the mark that YouTube have let go. But when they do, then I shall post on Twitter, X, whatever it's fucking called.
That's a point. Did you lock the door after I came back from shopping?
Yes. Mrs. W, did you lock the door? I always keep the front door locked now during the day as well. If they ever turn up, they can talk to me through the fucking window. Unless they got a warrant, and then I'll walk out. But if they ain't, they can fuck off. But yeah, the other annoying one. Good evening, Graham. Yeah, no worries, mate. The other one, which really does get up a lot of people's nose at the moment, was the 40% tax relief for films, would you believe? Film studios. Well, not just that. That includes museums and art galleries as well. Whether it will cover the news or not, I don't know. But BBC, Channel 4, they do make films and documentaries. So I'd presume they'd be covered by it as well. So are they buying airtime, or are they just going to carry on letting them make these woke films and shit that they're putting out? Because, to be honest, I haven't seen any films that would interest me come out of any British studio lately. They're on about the new James Bond, but it looks like that could be as woke as everything else. But 40%, surely it would make sense to give that to businesses. Help grow the economy instead of fucking carrying on ruining it. Do YouTube recorders qualify?
Sorry, I thought I'd try that one.
Yeah. Oh, you won't get 40% for that. They'd probably add 40%.
But if BBC can get it, then YouTubers should.
Well, it depends, because they got BBC Studios, which is separate from the actual entity BBC. And that's why people can't go after the BBC for the programmes, because it's not them that's making them. But then we got the chief exec, or whoever it is, Amanda Pritchard, resigned from the head of the NHS. Well, with the mess it's in, she should have been the first one to go, being as she's in charge. Pardon me. It is very, very top heavy with management and diversity officers, which are paid handsomely to fuck everything up. But she'll actually walk away with 112 grand in her pocket for resigning. Now that, to me, smacks of a bribe, and possibly that she was pushed before she was sacked with the way things were going. I mean, Starmer does seem to be trying a few turnarounds from what he's been doing. Good evening, Missy. But I think basically he's just going to do one or two things to try and appease Trump and get further up his ring piece. But still backing the Ukraine in the war, giving them millions of pounds. That's not going to please Trump at all. I really, really hope that after the speech at the EU security thing, that Trump don't want to see him, and he'll let JD Vance deal with him, because he absolutely hates Starmer, and he absolutely slated him. Yeah, that thing. But like I said, Starmer keeps saying what he's done with the defence spending yesterday. He will keep our islands safe. Well, he didn't. He said continent, so he doesn't know the difference between... and Graham. He doesn't know the difference between an island and a continent, obviously. Thick as two very short, thick planks comes to mind there. But keeping us safe, as I said in the video. Can't even stop bloody rubber boats coming across the channel. How are you going to keep our island safe, you knobhead? But, yeah, I mean, Starmer is like the French and the Italians during World War II. Remember how they carried on? Swapping sides to whoever was winning at the time. Yeah. I mean, yeah, most of it was due to the dictator Mussolini. But look where it got him. Strung up from a lamppost in the main town. By his own people But not saying that should happen here or anything like that. But yeah, now everybody's on about the grooming gangs again. In particular, the fact that all Labour and Tories, because obviously Tories are going to back Labour because they don't want reform getting in, they're backing out of them. They're not going to do them. Even Khan himself said, no, we're not going to have one in London. Well, London is probably as rife as it is up north with it. You know, the amount of people that are in London of a certain persuasion, shall I say. Good evening, Stuart. But, yeah, I'm of the opinion that literally they're blocking them because they've got something to hide. It's already been reported that there's a dozen or so police officers, no less, that have been suspended and are under investigation over being involved in them, whether it be covering up for them or not investigating, because they say that under the same guise as, oh, we're investigating them, because they don't want the public to know. You know, it's an even bigger cover-up going on there now. JW, good evening. I mean, we saw the cover-up over the Rudy Cabana case and many other cases. Oh, and there goes the camera. Fucking hell. No, I want that one. That's weird, because I only said to Heather earlier on it was funny that last week it kept going all night. Good evening, Adrian. Hi, buddy. Been a while. But yeah, the cover-ups over identities and shit like that. Well, it seems they're quite happy for the mainstream media to give out the identities. Good evening, Tony. Of the two chaps that burnt the Qurans. Now, that is total hypocrisy. I mean, they've now, by that action, endangered those guys' lives. Absolutely. They're marked men by the police anyway. One got searched again the other day. They said they were looking for articles that could cause damage. What they were looking for was a Quran. Obviously, even the copper admitted that. They laughed and joked about it. Matey let them get on with what they wanted to do. And when they asked for his ID, he said, well, you know who I am, otherwise you wouldn't have stopped me, you idiots. So, no. They got nothing out of him, and he had nothing in his bag. But I am surprised they didn't seize his laptop, because he did have that in his backpack, which is something I'd never do. I'd never take my laptop out of the house. At the moment, the only time it comes out is to update it every month. Any updates that's need doing, because the only time I take it anywhere really is when we go on holiday. Yeah, how are you yourself, Adrian? I'm sorry to hear that about your missus. I don't know whether you've been keeping up with my issues at the moment, but I've got quite a lot going on. They came out again yesterday to take more blood. And I've got to go in Monday for another venous section, which is be loads of blood coming out then. Scar, good evening, mate. I'm using that more and more now as well, bit since I've been upgraded, as they call it, to level 4 COPD. But still no news on my kidneys. apparently the phlebotomist came out yesterday. Yeah, I get that all the time, Adrian, because since the stroke, I developed chronic fatigue. And, I used to do 3 hour streams. I used to go on PAPs for, well, all bloody evening and half the morning as well. But there's no way I could do that now. 3-4 hours awake, and that's it. I've got to sleep. All my muscles ache. They go into cramps, and I get headaches. So I've got to be very, very careful with what I do.
It's also amazing just how much it takes it out of you.
Yeah.
Going to and fro the hospital when somebody else is ill.
Evening, God bless.
You don't realise until you have to go through it.
Yeah, it's...
You just moved in when I went in.
Yeah. It was... It came as a shock, but I'm learning to deal with it. Yeah, and I dare say you got the hassle now with this inheritance bollocks as well, ain't you, Adrian? I don't know whether do you actually own yours, or are you a tenant farmer? I never did ask. But no matter what you do, the new energy cap's going to hit everybody. You own it, yeah. So you're in the same boat as a lot of them then, mate. Unfortunately. They are being pressured to reverse it or do something else, but we know how hard-headed Comrade Starmer is. It's, yeah.
You've just got to keep going till somebody else comes in and turns it back around again.
Yeah, well...
Don't die in the next 4 years.
Literally, yeah, that's what I was going to say. We've got to hold out for like 4.5 years, and then they'll be gone, hopefully. Yeah, Scar, exactly, mate. I mean, my age doesn't help. But as I keep telling the doctor, sometimes it's not getting any better. Sometimes it's a little bit worse. Sometimes it stays the same. So it's something I've got to learn to live with, which I've been doing. I mean, it hasn't really screwed my mental health or anything up so far. Not saying it's not worrying, the fact that I could have another stroke or a heart attack at any time. Yeah, you're a little bit older than me, see, Adrian. So it'd be even worse for you, mate. I mean,
make sure you're looking after yourself, Adrian.
Yeah, you got to look after yourself, otherwise you're no good to her. That's where I'm lucky. We both try and look after each other here. I mean, the last time Heather was in for a few days, when she dislocated her artificial hip again, I basically slept at the bottom of her bed. I'd get up there because there was no visiting restrictions. I'd get up there in the morning, stay awake as long as I could, and that was it. Head down on the end of the bed in the chair and gone. You know? It's annoying because if I've got to even go in for a day, or I've got an appointment at one of the other hospitals across in Birmingham, like the QE, I have to arrange for patient assist. I have to arrange for them for somewhere for me to kip down. Like when I went in to have my blood nuked. They're usually pretty good, but they can't understand the fact that you just cannot sleep on them bloody chairs they make you sit in.
Can't sit in them?
No, I can't. Not with the way I slouch and what have you. I even walked out one day. They said, "Oh, it's going to be another 2 hours." I said, "Well, I'm going." But luckily enough for the blood tests, if they want to get any other than a Monday, then the nurse comes out. she does a home visit for me because of Heather's work. The only day I've got transport is on a Monday. But she is doing a couple of days a week at home from next week. It should be all of it from home and occasionally into the office. But she still can't take the time out to take me anywhere. So that's one thing I've never had issues with, Adrian. Heather is under the diabetes clinic. She hasn't got it bad. But my biggest worry now, this is why they keep taking the blood. The last lot the time before last, the doctor phoned me and said, there's something going on with your kidneys. I said, well, for a start, I never fucking asked you to look into them. I said, let's try and get some of the other stuff sorted first. I've been waiting, 5 months now for physio on me arthritis in my neck and that. All good. Hunting, been under the weather. Yeah, I think everybody is at the moment, Karen. There's an awful big rise again in mental health issues, which, to be honest, I can see what's doing that. It's a worry with all these new viruses that they keep announcing they found, although we're not seeing any evidence of them. But they want to turn farmland into solar farms. It's happening. Yeah, all the energy companies that are involved in that, JW, they're actually being run from Glasgow, from a supposedly separate entity, but I don't believe they are, because as far from the reports I've seen, Ed Miliband's more or less fucking running the show. So that tells you where all that money's going. Yeah, they don't pass on information, God bless. I mean, I've been waiting for a letter from them now to send off for my benefits. And I've been waiting for that for weeks and weeks. I've already told them that, you got to sort out the information traffic, as it were, because they're not even telling me. They're not talking to each other. They're not talking to me. Yes, Scar. I mean, it's like I've seen reports now of this new bat flu in China. Well, to me, if that is true, then they should be cancelling flights from China. Nobody from China comes into this country, because that's where they fucked up last time. They didn't implement things quick enough. Well, if they allegedly know these things are out there now, now's the time to start doing it before it gets here. But I shan't worry until I see chickens walking around with masks on, you know what I mean? They said it can be spread to cats and dogs. Well, I haven't seen any of them trying to lay eggs. So, what was your? Oh, yeah, somebody came out with there's another outbreak of foot and mouth. Well, that I can actually believe. As Adrian knows, it does pop up now and again, and that report did come from a farmer. So, I mean, that one I'm inclined to believe. We do see that, on the odd occasion popping up, and it's usually contained and controlled. But it doesn't matter to me, because I got mad cow's disease anyway, so. So I don't really give a shit. But yeah, they're just frightening people, trying to flog certain interventions because you have to pay for them now, apparently. It's yeah, but Zelensky, I cringe every time he pops up now, hearing his voice. He's turning a page, isn't he? Since word got out about how much money he's got in the bank and how many properties he's got in Florida. He never had any of that before the war started. And he's stepping back and saying, oh, if I've got to leave the position to achieve peace, does that mean he'll walk away with his full pockets and never go back? Goblin. Yeah, he is, Jen. He's a horrible little bastard. Oh, yeah, Trump stitched him right up, Scar. Absolutely. Well, fair play to him for that. It's guilty. But the other thing is, he realises that the support is dwindling. The only one that's fucking daft enough to still keep funding him is Comrade Starmer. With money and weapons, apparently. Now, Starmer's saying, oh, yeah, he wants peace. He wants to be involved in it. Well, if you want peace, the first thing you got to do is stop sending him that shit. You know? Oh, you'll never see any receipts for any of that, Jen. Never. You know? I mean, someone must have been really digging to find out what's been going on there. It's beyond my capabilities. You know, it's bad enough trying to get freedom of information requests here to get anything. Everyone that I've put out has always come back with information not available, or that silly clause they get in, oh, it would be detrimental to society if we give you that information. Or a couple that come back with, oh, it's going to cost you so many £100 to organise it and send it. I'm like, yeah, right. You know, they think we're frigging idiots. And you know, Rachel from accounts, well, I don't even know. She thinks she knows what's going on. I mean, she's literally costing the country more by doing what she's doing. I go back to the farmers thing, that's taxes. It's going to cost them more to implement it and run it than what they're actually going to get out of it, which to me does not make any economic sense whatsoever. And the EU army, what's that all about? I mean, they started off with the conscription shit. But then I think they realised that nobody's going to fight. So they're now putting it out as maybe volunteer for something like a home defence. Well, yeah. Home defence, I'm for. Even in my dilapidated state, I'll quite happily sit on the cliffs of Dover with a nice Barrett. But I don't think anybody would volunteer to go and fight from, or even a peacekeeping force in the Ukraine. It's nothing to do. It's not our fucking war. You know, if Trump wants to put people in there, fine, let him do it. But yes, they were, Scar. They were. Macron wanted it, and that silly bitch in Germany wanted it. But up until the last few weeks, I hadn't heard anything about it again. But to call it a peacekeeping force, no. Not a chance. It would be totally 1984. I mean, Europe's got its own big issues now, and Starmer can't see that. Multiple attacks, multiple shootings again. I think it was today or yesterday. There was definitely some mass attacks, pardon me, yesterday. And Starmer doesn't see that as an issue. You know, that's what could be coming our way. Well, coming, it's here, isn't it? You know. Starmer, yes, he did, JW. He said he wanted a meeting with him. Trump didn't want to bother with him. Yeah, but he ain't going to tell the truth when he comes back, JW. That's the issue. Oh, yeah, we had a nice dinner together. That's not what we want to hear. Oh, hang on. I've got an email here. Oh, thank you very much, YouTube, for telling me I'm live. I haven't had an alert on YouTube yet, but there you go. Yeah, Jen, it would be like 1984. Now, Europe, more or less against Trump. Starmer won't admit it, but he is. He thinks he's a bigger man and more powerful than Trump. If he keeps going down that route, he's going to find out just how small he is. And, you know, remember the 1984 scenario? The two big continents against each other. Not saying that could happen, but yeah, he's just crawling up his arse, Jen. He really is. He's licking around his ring piece. He knows if Trump really turns against his country, he will stuff Starmer right up. You know? And both him and Rachel from accounts just don't understand how things work. Now, they're trying to work a deal with the EU over open borders for 18 to 27-year-olds, I believe it was. So people can come back and forwards and work. Well, with the way she's destroying jobs and the numbers that are disappearing in this country, it's not worth them coming. There ain't no fucking jobs from here. You know? Even holiday resorts, they're having to put extra taxes on. I mean, Wales has done it. Cornwall and Devon are on about doing it. I mean, that's going to drive down the tourist industry. There was a thing on Facebook the other day, come to London. It's a wonderful place to bring your kids. I wouldn't let them within fucking miles of the place. It's a shithole. It's dangerous as hell. You know? Oh, no, come to London. It's the best city in the world. Is it? Fuck. Used to be. Not anymore. No, they're laughing at him, Scott. The only ones that talk to him are the ones he gives money to. And I'm almost convinced he does that to bribe them to say we like the UK. Well, of course they do, because all their dregs are crossing the fucking channel in boats, aren't they? You know, this government has got no fucking backbone. The only reason he can fucking dictate to us, the public, is because of the sheep that don't stand up to him. I mean, it's nice to see that everywhere he goes, he gets chased away. He gets booed. He gets harassed. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't mind saying that. I think that should happen anywhere. Him, Reeves, and the Ginger Whinger go. Lammy, Miliband. But the trouble is, you put them in front of a mainstream media camera. They come out with all lies. They won't answer questions. Good evening, Loafer. I mean, PM's question times on a Wednesday, I've given up watching it. It's an absolute fucking joke. You know, they're all pre-written answers, even the insults. And it's just a pantomime. It's a pantomime for the people. We've seen what happens when Starmer's put on the spot. He couldn't even talk to a bunch of school kids. You know, he wouldn't even answer their questions. Indirect sites, miracles. Yeah, well, they shipped in, as soon as the government changed, they shipped in, was it 2 flights? You know, admittedly, some of them might be refugees and might be genuine refugees, but I very much doubt it. He wouldn't be behind me, Loafer. Mrs. W would have flattened him before he got anywhere near me.
Loafer's gone into pantomime mode.
He's no, behind you.
He's behind you. Yes, very witty, mate. Very witty.
I couldn't care about him. I mean, yeah, it's the sort of bloke I wouldn't piss on if he was burning. Well, unless I could piss back raw, I suppose. But, oh, did I just say a hate crime? And it's the same with the police now, with what they're going, the way they're going again now. They're always asking for the public to help. We don't have to. I certainly wouldn't. You know, go and do your fucking job. If you're doing your job properly, you wouldn't need help from the public. And if you did, and you did your job properly, maybe the public would help you. But persecuting the public is not going to get you any help. You know, like was it in the video today, the new laws, the new policing bill. Yes, the kids and the women need protecting, but why put that in another policing bill when it's been put in the last ones they put in? It was put in the ones the Tories put in place, and nothing's been happening. So I don't believe a fucking word of it. But and again, with the kicking down of the doors over mobile phone theft. Again, in the video today, I said, yes, it is like an epidemic. But knowing how the police misuse the powers they've got, there's going to be a lot of doors kicked in unnecessarily. You know, because they're told if they think there's some stolen phones, they can go in warrantless. Well, we know what happened when the police think, don't we? Yeah, they're incapable of it. They're just little drones following orders. And the ones that are giving them the orders, they ain't got a clue anyway. Has anybody else been following any of this shit? Oh, by the way, the the energy cap doesn't mean that the bills are going to go up by 6.4%. That's just the absolute maximum that they can charge. And as of yet, in fairness to them, none of them have actually reached the cap, not that I know of. Why, I don't know, because they could quite easily do it. Maybe it's because of the extra taxes they've got to pay.
I was going to say, wait till the NI changes kick in April.
The April is going to be a big, big month, and it will dictate which way the public go in this country, I believe, because they're going to be hit with everything, more or less, at once. The car tax, the fuel, the NI, income tax, higher prices. And I hate to say it, but I think it will kick off big time. Yeah, it's ridiculous, Jen. It really is. I mean, we want all our own power. Yet, well, you destroyed most of the industry that provided that, including blowing up the fucking power stations. Oh, they JW, as soon as Starmer got in, everybody's reporting now that he took down the Churchill pictures. That was ages ago when he did that. Same in number 11. They all got took down. Nobody's saying what they replaced them with. Maybe it's Stalin or Mussolini, Resist says hi. Yeah, good evening, Resist. Yeah, I know he's usually lurking in the background there somewhere. He likes to listen. Have a look on. Always putting Lecky on. Because, yeah, chair, stair lifts and that, they suck ridiculous amounts. We have got the highest energy costs, Loafer. And it's literally because we're having to buy it off of Europe, who are still, even through the back door, dealing with Russia for coal and gas. Evening, Stevie. Yeah, it's Miliband needs to go. They need to stop all this green shit and net zero agenda, because it ain't going to happen. I mean, they want 87% reduction in CO2. Ain't going to happen. When China does it, India does it, and all the other big polluting countries, then I would consider doing it. But up until then, no. Yeah, but I said that, was it last week? I mean, you think about it, even when we did have the coal-fired power stations and the gas ones, the grid used to go in meltdown at half-time of the FA Cup final because everybody used to put their kettles on at once. And the grid would be in a red area, shall I say. They had to draw power, cut other things down. I think the only saving grace on that is a lot of people were at home rather than working, so they can draw it from the industry side of things. But I won £5 last week. I'm set for life. At this rate, I'll be out of retirement. But I'll tell you what, I got yesterday's lottery ticket there. All I won on that is a free go with 2 numbers and a bonus ball. But I keep hoping, win them millions, I could start taking a few of these idiots to fucking court, which I would put money aside from it for. I don't do it every week, Jen. If it's a decent rollover for a couple of weeks, then I have a go. But
we normally win what you got. Don't win most times.
No. We pay green energy producers not to produce. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me, Scuzz. We've got the potential to produce our own energy, but we can't because they destroyed the apparatus that we need to do it.
And they've done that so that nobody comes back and opens them up again.
Yeah. Solar and wind farms, with the size of this country and the amount of electricity we use, will never, ever make us self-sufficient. They'd have to cover the whole fucking country with them. China's allegedly doing it. Well, if that's true, why are they building, is it 157 new coal-fired power stations? That ain't going to help the net zero shit to start with, is it? They got the biggest dam in the world, the hydro dam. Was it Six Gorges or something, whatever it's called? And they still want to build. And fair enough, they are building a few nuclear ones as well. And what have we got? I think it's 2 nuclear ones being built, and they ain't going to be ready before 2050. What's it program? Moonraker film. Yeah, the mass exodus. It'll be like what was that one called? Where they were all on the big wheel in space. It's gone from me now. With the robots running around everywhere, and the humans are just there to do the dangerous jobs. I can't remember what it's called now. It's got Matt Damon in it. But yeah, is that what Musk is trying to do with his starships? He was on about he wants to build a new space station. He was talking with NASA about Elysium. That was it. Thank you, bud. I should have known that. It was on the other night.
I know. That's what I was racking my brain, and I'm like, I've got to answer this.
Good evening, Robin. Silent Run. That was a brilliant film. I went to see that at the pictures when it was released with, was it Dern? Huey, Louie and Dewey, wasn't it? The robots. Yeah, I remember that one. So I couldn't remember Elysium, but I can remember Silent Running. It was on again a few weeks back on Talking Pictures, the channel that shows all the old ones. I think it was. But Silent Running, yeah, I definitely remember that one.
The thing is with Silent Running, it means something. You can think about, an electric vehicle running silently. It means something. What does Elysium mean?
No, have you ever seen Silent Running?
No, I'm saying your memory remembers it because
it was big spaceships that were launched into space with hydroponic domes on them.
The big dome and the little shuffly robots. Yes, I remember.
And the little 6-wheel buggy.
My point was the name makes sense to your subconscious. Elysium doesn't. Which is why it's easy to remember.
But yeah, there's lots of sites that have been earmarked for solar energy and stuff. Yeah, I'm surprised. My long-term memory, Robin, is great. Short-term memory, not so good. Yeah, but Drax, he was, wasn't he part of that criminal organisation that he was always fighting with? Because he was also in the one with the airship, wasn't he? Flying over the Golden Gate Bridge when they were fighting up there. But yes, a lot of them old films, they're being replayed at the moment. As I say, there's the Freeview channel, Talking Pictures, which does a lot of Legend and Legend Extra. They tend to do a lot of the sci-fi ones. But it's amazing when you look back at all the older sci-fi films, how much of it, was it predicted? Yes, it was fiction, but a lot of it is now reality. I mean, Star Trek for a start. Look at how many things they had on Star Trek that are now reality. What was the other one?
The other one what?
No, there was another, not a series, it was a film. Not 1984, that's obvious. There was another one. Total Recall. Yeah, that was a bit of a stretch at the moment, but there again, Jen, yeah, on the mind, implanting memories and shit like that. Yeah, you know, Musk reckons he's already got a chip he can do it with. Evening, Gary. Running Man. Yeah, that was along the lines of the Hunger Games more than anything, wasn't it? With the violent parts of it, but the fact that they put them on TV as a game show. Yeah, maybe we're all living in a science fiction film at the moment. Elysium means happiness. I've never had that used to describe it.
Not a word I'd use every day regarding how lazy I was.
Running Man. Good evening, Gordo. Back in the day, the effects were pretty shit. I mean, it's more like a comedy now. But I mean, the new remake of we just talked about it. Jesus Christ. Total Recall, the new version. Or latest version. I mean, that was a good film. What was the other one that was like that with Harrison Ford?
My brain's just said Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's Terminator. Well, you think of the scenario of that, Gary. Yeah, AI takes over, becomes aware.
iRobot.
Now, yeah, iRobot. That's another one.
Man.
I'm totally lost now because you keep jumping in.
Sorry.
For fuck's sake, my mind's just gone blank now. Oh, not seeing what the new Total Recall one, Jen. It's well, I'd watch it because Kate Beckinsale's in it, but no, it's actually Blade Runner. Thank you, Loafer. That was the other one with Harrison Ford. Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, and it was the second one. Space chickens are taking over. Oh man, they've been bugging me for fucking years, them things. But yeah, the newer Total Recall, Jen, is it's actually Earth based. It's not based on Mars. Fifth Element. Well, I don't know so much about that one, but
you will watch it again and again.
But I will watch it simply to watch Mealy. Yeah. There was some good acting in that with Gary Oldman, and yeah, well, any of the films I remember from back then, Flanco, they're classed as classics now. I'm a classic. But I used to like the special effects back then because they were special effects. They weren't just AI, as it were.
I mean, plasticine men.
Plasticine men. Men in masks rather than an AI version. Merch drop. No, there's some that Heather got me for Christmas, Gary. The Ascent of Rum Doodle is a good book for weird future stuff. Well, the title wouldn't draw me towards it. I mean, the ones I used to read, Asimov, the trilogy of Empire and State. It was almost like a Star Wars thing. I've only ever seen it in books. I've never seen the film. There was the Empire and State, the destruction of the Empire, and that was all about intergalactic battles. And the trouble is, when I read a book or a series of books like I used to, I get too involved in it in my head. I mean, the trilogy, I can't remember the bloody author's name now, but there was the Ruby Knight, the Diamond Throne, and another one. And they were all like Arthurian type things, fantasy. And there was here Diamond Throne and the Ruby Knight were two. I can't remember the name of the third one. And the hero in that was the Sir Sparhawk.
David Eddings.
David Eddings, thank you. And his trusty steed, Farron. Well, I read two of them back to back, literally over a day and a night. And I became Sir Sparhawk in my head.
The third one was the Sapphire Rose.
Sapphire Rose, thank you.
And it was called the Elenium Collection. Trilogy.
Thank you. He offered it last week, Missy. He hasn't just offered it, he said it last week, that if him stepping down would bring peace, he'd quite happily do it. Yeah, I don't read a lot anymore, Steve. I mean, my eyes are bad enough looking at the text on here. I wouldn't be able to concentrate on a book for more than 5 minutes now, unfortunately.
I'd love you to start reading a book because I do what you do.
What's up?
Well, the moment I pick up a book to read, you start talking to me.
Well, yeah. I used to go out and sit on the cliffs down in Cornwall and read them. But no, that's one I've never heard of. But I mean, I haven't got many books now. I've got the whole collection up until a few years ago of Clarkson's yearly book. But really, that was just rewrites of his bit in the paper. He's put it all in a book every year and put out an annual one. I'm overloaded anyway, Boyley. My head it's always been full. I always used to have a thirst for knowledge and shit like that. Kaleidoscope, yeah. That was quite a good one. There was another one. I can't remember what it was called now. Again, it was actually made into a film. If I could remember the name of it, but it was like a totalitarian regime running a dystopian city. Not the one with Jenny Agutter in. Although that was a classic. But this one was a bit more subtle. It went into more just sort of normal life entwined with the dystopia. Soylent Green, yeah, Charlton Heston. Solves the problem of what to do with the dead, isn't it? Logan's Run, yeah, that was the one with Jenny Agutter in. Yeah. I liked her in that little green dress. Oh, yes. Jessica. See, I can even remember a character's name.
Not that you had dreams about it or anything.
Oh, no, of course not.
No,
Never fantasized about the woman in my life.
no. Liar, liar, bums on fire.
Mate, the Maze Runner ones, yeah, that was. I couldn't actually see that becoming fact, though. It was. That one was actually too far fetched, although there was no spaceships and shit like that in on it. But I mean, if you listen to the predictions that all these clowns that are running different countries are going on about, the biggest one that comes to mind as a possibility would be Waterworld. The ice caps melt everywhere, floods. Yeah, trouble is, Boyley, it's what I've always said. When you read a book, you're letting somebody else get into your head. Passengers, yeah, there's a possibility, but that was a bit of a slow, boring film. And Jennifer Lawrence never did anything for me anyway. Some of the characters did in films. Again, like in the Hunger Games. I can associate with that, with doing bushcraft and self-sustainability and that, but there again, Loafer, you should know better than to call it World War One. It only became World War One after the last one. Up until then, it was the Great War. Yeah, that's what I mean, Jen. If you think about it, the ice caps melts, the cities will all be underwater. I can see that if that ever came true, I just like watching Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, but apparently she's a bit of a bitch in real life, Gary.
Doesn't matter when you're fantasizing.
Yeah, the war, and even the first, I'm calling it now the First World War. We only got dragged into that because of the assassination of Ferdinand, wasn't it? If you think about it, we weren't involved in it to start with. But the only ones that had connection to it all was the royal family before it all kicked off. And weren't the ones that assassinated Ferdinand not Lithuanian? They came from out that way somewhere again, which was nothing to do with us. But nobody learnt from it, did they, Loafer? But yeah, I said that in the film today, didn't I? Hitler couldn't get across the fucking channel in 6 years with all his army. Yet Starmer's let alone basically an army come over unabated, and a lot of times assisted. What does that tell you? Serbian, that was it, Loafer, thank you. I knew it that way somewhere. It was they assassinated the Archduke, didn't they? So yeah, I do remember a bit of the history. Hitler does a lot. Fucking hell. Loafer does a lot of reading, Gary, and he does read a lot of books on history. He's got like a library at home. But that's why I say, books just don't do things for me now. Archduke Ferdinand, yes, sir. But there again, Hitler was a very clever bloke. under the treaty, he was only allowed certain number of personnel in his army. He was only allowed certain aircraft. So, yeah, he built an army of all officers. So they were ready to train the others when needed. The Luftwaffe, they weren't allowed to train fighter pilots or anything like that. So a lot of the young lads trained on gliders and became glider pilots, and the next natural step up was proper powered aircraft. You know, he was clever that way.
He bent the rules.
Yeah. Well, he didn't bend them, he got around them.
He saw the gaps within the rules.
Yeah.
Phrase it how you would.
He got the thing, looked through it and thought, well, I can get away with that. I can get away with that. Yeah, 100,000. So he trained 100,000 officers, didn't he? What was it? Oh, Blackadder. Yeah, absolutely brilliant that was. Especially was it the Goes Forth when it was the war one that I mean Atkinson, the stuff he used to come out with. Hi Jen, no worries. But you know, do they still teach this stuff to the kids in school? I mean, we were taught all about the wars. You know, even going back the American Civil War. I mean, the uprising here. You know, the War of the Roses and stuff like that. We were taught all that in school. But I don't think they teach it now. You know, they don't see it as history.
They teach more modern history now.
Yeah, I can see the point. You know, we were looking back 50 years, 100 years, and the kids now looking back 50 years, you know, we lived that history.
Well, we were growing up.
Yeah, we grew up in it. Yeah, exactly, Scar. I mean, you think about the Russians, to be honest. I mean, their first real half-decent jet engine, which was fitted in, I think it was the MiG-15, was actually a British design. It was a British design that they stole and mass-produced. Oh, Heather's grandkids, you know, when they ask, we do educate them on the past. You know, we put it in subtly, like they'll say something and we'll bring it up. You know, in the conversation, say, well, you know, this is what happened back then, you know. Prompted Boys Leonard's 1916. Lemmy did do some half-decent, quieter ones. He wasn't always the headbanger. Most of the time he was, but... But there again, we got the last ever Black Sabbath concert build up here now, which sold out in about 18 minutes. But people are now saying it's a con because originally they announced that Ozzy was going to do a set with Sabbath, and now he's turned around and said he hasn't. But
because he's too poorly. I reckon he'll do about 2 songs.
Yeah, if he can stay out, but stay awake and stay straight long enough.
They're going to sit him on a chair at the front of the stage, and he'll do.
Older, he wouldn't recognise it.
He'll do Crazy Train and something else.
Oh, they'll do Paranoid. That's the one they're most known for.
No, because he's not doing the Sabbath set. So he'll do 2 of his own numbers.
Yeah, Gary, we used to have morning assembly, and it always used to end with a hymn and a prayer. Luckily enough for me, because I've never followed a religion, I'd sit through the assembly, but when it come to the last 10 minutes of singing a hymn and saying a prayer, I was allowed to go and stand out in the corridor because I couldn't be asked with it. I didn't do religion. Except for weddings and funerals. The only other time that I ever, I was made to go by the family basically, was before I got married originally. Because a lot of the family on my mum's side were Roman Catholic. Under the Roman Catholic religion, obviously, you've got to be confirmed before you can legally get married in the eyes of the religion. And because the wife at the time, or wife-to-be at the time, and pressures from my family, I had to go to these silly fucking classes, which most of the time I got thrown out of. I think I only attended 2. But when you do your confirmation, they insist you take confession, which was an absolute hoot, because I went in and gave them a load of bollocks, and at the end of it, I'm just like, oh, by the way, yeah, I confessed to lying. My nan's always said that, they should have crucified you. I said, no. Your God went through that. But even that wasn't enough pain for my fucking sins. Yeah, I went to a Roman Catholic school run by nuns, Loafer. I lasted about 2 weeks. Even as a junior, I got kicked out. The nuns couldn't handle me. Apparently, I was a bad influence. I was a devil worshipper. Nuns reverse, yeah. All I saw was giant fucking penguins. But I'll tell you what, the old Mother Superior or whatever she fucking was, she could really swing that old ruler across your knuckles. I remember that. But she must have had a good supply, because I do remember snapping at least 2 of them for her after she slapped me with one. But yeah, I don't go around mocking religion. If people find something in it, if it's a good one, that is, then absolutely fine. If they get something out, if they find a bit of solace in it, then go for it. Buy egg boxes. Yeah. It's each to their own. I don't follow a religion, but unless you're from a certain religion, I don't give a fuck which one you do. I can't say I hate that certain religion, because, again, I'd be committing a hate crime, wouldn't I?
But it's individuals, not the religion.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's, from what I can understand, the trouble is, Steve, when I open the panel, I forget about everybody in the chat, mate. So this week I'm just going to keep it as the chat. I do open it occasionally, but with the way my brain works at the moment, it takes too much attention away from the rest of the guys. And I don't want to just keep talking to the people on the panel and ignoring those that are chatting in the text, I'll probably open it again next week for an hour, depending on how we go. I'll definitely have a panel on Wednesday, the 12th of March, simply because it's the day before my birthday. That's going to be my birthday stream the day before. We'll have a bit of a laugh, see how long I can stay awake. Yeah, I don't particularly like doing quizzes, Gary. It's maybe be God, but religious writing. Well, you say that, Scar. I say I don't follow any religion. The morals I've lived my life under are Christian morals, or most of them. But I just don't enjoy doing them, Flanco. I don't mind it when somebody else is doing it and I'm participating. I just don't like doing it.
It's very easy to lose people because it's too difficult, it's too easy.
Yeah.
And you've got such a mixture of knowledge with this crew.
I mean, if you start answering history questions, then, you know, it's going to be me, Loafer.
I could start posting questions in the chat.
Yeah.
That's what people wanted. I could get the quiz book out and start posting.
No, unless he came down and presented himself in front of me, Scar, I don't believe it. Unless I can see physical evidence. Which date did Starmer lie? I think most of them in his adult life. Don't forget he was a solicitor.
I was going to say, easy to say which day didn't he lie?
So it started way before he got involved in politics. Yeah, the thing that pisses me off, Loafer, is what the authorities are doing over religion. Like, we've had two religions in this country for many years, Roman Catholic, Christian. A lot of it intertwines. Okay, yeah, there's been a bit of hassle over in Ireland over it over the years. But on a whole, they tolerate each other, you know, and what have you. But then all of a sudden there's a new one that it's taken over everything. They can do what they want. You lot that have been practicing religion for years, you can shut the fuck up. And I don't agree with that. That is absolutely wrong. You know, the cultural differences are too big for it to ever be set loose in this country, although that's what they seem to be trying to do. Well, they all have, Scar. All of them have got at least 28 days. Yeah, the thing is, Loafer, it's not your channel, mate. So I've got to be very careful how I put things, even in the live streams. You know, YouTube watcher, I could wake up in the morning, go to clock into it to see how many people have dropped in and what have you, and it'll be gone like one did before. You know, it's and they are Flyby. Good evening, and they are actively pulling a lot of channels down just for mentioning the wrong word, putting something the wrong way, pointing the finger. You know, I mean, you've only got to look at what Starmer's doing now. You know, he's trying to bring anybody down that speaks out against him. Well, I've always spoke out about politicians. And I continue doing that, especially why this idiot keeps doing what he's doing. You know, to be honest, when reform get in, because I believe they will, if Farage is in, he'll probably say one or two things, or come up with one or two things that I can pick a hole in and have a go at. Him having a go and dismissing Tommy Robinson and his followers. That now he's losing himself hundreds of thousands of votes by doing that. A lot of them will go over to parties like UKIP, which again is dividing the vote against Labour. And this was the fucking problem with the last one. Not enough people voted, and people, instead of just voting for that one party and sticking together, what votes they had, they spread around all the others. If realistically, at the moment, with the way that the Tories are going in with Labour, agreeing with them a lot of things, it is blatantly obvious they're trying to push reform out. But will enough people stand up and vote? We know he'll get the Muslim vote. Starmer will. How, I don't know why, because if you think about, well, say that probably a lot of them don't pay tax. We know a lot of them don't work and they breed like fucking rabbits. But, that's literally how Khan is still in as Lord Mayor of London, because he's filled London with fucking Muslims.
The other reason is they put too many people up against him, because he only got a fifth of the vote.
That's exactly right. It just needs one person to split that vote, one other person to run, and they'd have a good chance. And it's exactly the same with political parties. There's enough people out there to vote Labour right out the window.
Yeah.
But if half of them go and vote for UKIP, another lot vote for the Greens and stuff like that, it won't happen. Labour will still get the fucking majority, which will be absolutely devastating. If there is anything left to the country, and if we're allowed a fucking election the way things are going. Yeah, exactly, Loafer. Exactly. They've got to change the way the elections are run. Yeah. I mean, to me, that's what the Tories are trying to do with Labour now. They're trying to form a coalition. But the thing is, most people hate the Tories as much as they do Labour. They weren't as bad as Labour, but I think if they'd have got in on the last election, I think we probably would be going through the same shit we're going through now. They were heading in that direction with the control, the 15-minute cities, the digital ID, the cash only. A lot of this were Tory ideas that Starmer's continued. The European Army. Sunak was all for that. They were. Yeah, exactly. There was, I think they said there was only, it was less than 50% of the country voted. I mean, I never ever voted until it was the choice of Brexit, the EU getting out. And that was the first time I ever voted. And the only reason I voted for Boris in that was because he promised to get us out the EU. But since then, I've had my vote. It hasn't counted because there's been too many people not voting. But if there is another one, I will vote reform again. But they've cancelled a lot of the local elections, or so they say. They've only suspended them. But they're putting things in place that would take over, basically, from local elections. These super councils and the mayor of whatever. So straight away, they've proved the fact that they are willing to take away our democratic rights. Now, all over, there goes up. fucking camera again. It lasted a bit longer this time. And we're back. I hate it when it does that. I keep meaning to buy a new one, but I might get round to that next week. Where was I? Yeah, the elections. I keep warning about these AI channels that are all over. They're like a fucking rash on YouTube now. You know, they're said, oh, Charlie's had a word with Starmer and he's not happy, he's had a go at him. Things he hasn't had a fucking word with him at all. You know, to me, the royal family now are just minor celebrities. They should be off making their own fucking money. They make enough. They shouldn't need to draw on the taxpayer. As far as I'm concerned, they don't do fuck all for the country. You know, oh, they're ambassadors. For what? The shithole that his government's creating? Yeah. Yeah, well, this is the thing, Loafer. Everybody has said we'd be better off if we get out of the ECHR. I agree. We probably would. We can take more power back and more control of our own country. But as we've seen, they'll quite happily change our own human rights bill. Sunak did it. They changed the laws on treason. Well, that should have raised a few eyebrows straight away. Straight away, people should have picked up on that. You know, there's no death penalty for it. And there hasn't been for years and years and years. So why did they need to change it? You know, as far as I'm concerned, this government that's in power now is treasonous with what they've done. You know, they've totally ignored the people, the ones they saying that they're working for. They took not a blind bit of fucking notice. So cleaning windows, yeah. I mean, you know, there's always been turmoil in the royal families down through history in this country. You know, you got to remember they were descent from Germans as well. But this lot that are there now, I mean, old Queenie, she's better off out of it with what's been going on in the royal family now. You know, you know, you got a pervert, you got someone that decided to go off on his fucking own because he married somebody they didn't like. You know, it goes back to, was it Edward and Mrs. Simpson's time, wasn't it? But at least he had the decency to say, no, I want to marry her, so I'll step down. You know, Charlie himself has committed adultery, hadn't he? You know, with old Horseface, old Camilla.
Well, again, they changed the law there more than once.
They did. They changed the law a couple of times to facilitate that.
Because they changed it so he could marry her, and then they changed it
so she could be called Queen.
Called Queen.
Yeah.
Not Queen Consort.
No. GC was pathetic. Not my favourite, but he did play the one. Yeah. Well, I'm half Irish, Loafer. I still don't know which half, but
from the neck up.
From the neck up, I'm English.
No. From the neck up, that's the half that's Irish.
No, I do like Ireland. I used to love it going over there, but and you know, I still keep in touch with my relatives over there. Well, mainly my cousins now. Most of the others have passed on, as they say. But we still keep in touch, and I don't talk to my own family here, the English side, but I do talk to them over there. And it was nice to find out that a lot of them hate my sister as much as I do. So that's more or less how we got talking again. But no, I don't believe the royal family do any good. Well, yeah, okay, there's people still following the royalists and that, but I've never followed the royal family. I admired Queenie for what she used to do, but because she laid down the rules. I mean, on her last Christmas speech that I remember, she absolutely said that we must preserve our cash. We must always have cash. That soon changed when she died. It might have been scary if you're talking about Edward. But I always like to think it was because he loved a woman. He couldn't marry her with the laws that were in place. So step away from those laws and get on with my life, which he did. And apparently they lived quite happily. Yeah, exactly, Loafer. I would never class him as the king of this country, mainly for one reason, and that is the WEF and the WHO. I won't take it away from them. People don't realise they do a hell of a lot for charities. But again, they also do a lot for charities abroad.
Excuse me.
My star sign is Pyrexos. Funny enough, Scar, that's what I used to put on my NHS forms where it says place of birth. I always used to put second test tube on the left. And on the last one, before I went in for the bypass, under religion, I put Druid, Buddhist, Buddhist. What was the Star Wars one? Jedi. I put the 3 down, and they said, "Can you write it out?" I said, "No, I ain't going to change it." Yeah, but when Chamberlain came back waving that bit of fucking paper around, that did nothing, did it? I'm a royalist. No, definitely not, Floyby. Definitely not.
The only thing they're good for now is bringing the tourists in from China and America.
Yeah, but even they're being frightened out of London now, so what's the point? The Chinese are absolutely fucking disgusting as tourists. I mean, you've only got to watch some of the videos on them. They'll just squat and shit wherever they want. They make a mess. Everywhere they go, they trash hotels. I mean, the ones I think are absolutely brilliant and some of the most respectful tourists are the Japanese. They are always respectful, but it is drummed into them. They're brought up with respect. I mean, where would you see any other football team in the world where their players go around the stadium and pick up all the litter after the crowd have gone? You wouldn't see that from any other football team around this world or any event in this world. but the Japanese do it. You know? Oh, if I put one of them shitters in the floor loafer, I'd probably end up tripping over it and breaking my fucking ankle or something. There's too much knife crime in London for everybody, Flyby. I said years ago when I first started YouTube, the best thing they could do with London is put a wall round it, let all the people out that want to move out, and just shut the fucking door and leave them to it in there. You know, bit like the wall in Hunger Games. You know, we'll throw bones over the wall. But the thing is, Flyby, it's not just knife crime, mate. It's crime in general. Yeah, I've come across that, Scourges, where you've got all the options, and I'll write English at the bottom myself. You know, I won't tick any of the boxes.
Everything on the government website, you've got to pick United Kingdom.
Yep, but I wasn't born in the United Kingdom. I was born in England, so therefore I'm an Englishman.
That every form.
Yeah.
.gov.uk.
In fact, I can't remember it being on.
It's not on most things now.
No, I'm trying to remember if it had nationality or nationality of parents on the old birth certificates. Yeah, so, some of us still have our originals. But I don't ever remember name, if any. No, there isn't. I thought there might have been. I seem to remember seeing it somewhere. But no, there isn't. Did you know you can't actually, in law, people do ask for it, but you're not supposed to use, and the law actually doesn't recognise your birth certificate as an ID. Escaping to LA, yeah, exactly, Scott. Oh, Pliskin, he knew his way around that one, didn't he? No. Diversity, as they call it in this country, I think they've brought it in to try and cause trouble, which it's doing. That's why they brought it in my opinion.
It was the minorities that insisted they were getting a poor deal because they weren't represented equally. Well, no minority will be represented equally because you're a fucking minority.
Exactly. It's like when you see adverts on TV, in magazines. Now, anybody coming to this country, not knowing what's here, who's here, would look at that and think, oh, just about every fucking relationship is a mixed relationship. Every marriage is a mixed marriage. Where very few are. Yep, exactly, Scar.
I'm right behind you, Scar, but I'm a woman.
But I believe this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep us all, I've said this many times, they're trying to keep us all fighting against each other so we can't unite and fight against them. That's exactly what they're doing. You know, certain people, ethnicity of people, they would absolutely love the 15-minute cities, provided they had their own. You know?
If 15-minute cities were brought in, most people would have to move or change job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or both.
Yeah. And a smaller community, 15 minutes is easier to control.
How would they get on in Wales? You can't get anywhere in 15 minutes.
Well, state of London, you can't get anywhere in 15 minutes. You know, it's all about control, restricting movement. Same as the digital currency. That's all designed to control you. Yeah, it is, Floby. It is. You know, I mean, they're still looking into this digital ID thing, where you'd have your app on your phone. That would be your driving license, your bank details, your health details, and anything else they wanted on there.
So you break your phone, you've got nothing.
Someone steals your phone,
They've
got everything to be you. Literally. You know, they think ID theft is bad at the moment, and it used to be before even. But with digital ID, it would take it to a whole new level. No, you wouldn't be able to, Stuart, with the way things are at the moment, mate. I've always said that we should give back Northern Ireland to the Irish. It's part of their fucking country.
I don't think they even want it now. There's too many.
You know, I mean, it's akin to the French coming over and, we're going to run the Isle of Wight, or we're going to run Kent, you know. Sadly, I've always said that about Northern Ireland. Exactly, Scar. Exactly, mate.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely, it should be. Fucking eyes are watering again.
Okay.
Oh, if I was crying, I'd have an excuse, but I ain't. They just start watering.
Your eyes are just sad.
Them. Yeah, that's the wokeness that started up. It's mind blowing. You know how somebody can turn round and say there's so many genders. All right, you want a sex change operation? Go and see how many they offer. You know, you cut the bollocks off a dog. He's still a dog, isn't he? You know? Yeah. There's only 2 operations for 2 different genders. Yeah, maybe the operation to cure them of all these other weird ones is removal from the neck up. Class it as an operation. But the thing is, it's like gays, lesbians. I've never, ever worried about them. It never bothered me, simply because they never used to come and shout in your face about what they are. You are what you are. Get on with your fucking life. What or who you fucking jump on at night behind your own doors is entirely up to you. You know, but they didn't come. It's the same with vegans and vegetabilists. You know, if you don't eat meat, absolutely fucking fine. But don't come shouting at me and having a go at me because I do. Because I'll just put you on your fucking ass.
Do you know the vegetabilists have made it so that there are vegan dishes in a steakhouse? Miller and Carter now have vegetalist and veganist dishes on the menu. Fucking steakhouse.
Well, what's the name in London? I can't remember the name of the place now. It's gone all halal.
Yeah, there's quite a few places doing that.
You know, if I saw a sign on somewhere I was going in to eat and it said allow meat only, I'd go, fuck you. You know what I mean? But, you know, these, I won't call them weird because they've been around a long time. It's been accepted. But to all of a sudden feel the need to jump up and shout in people's faces, you know, they used to have their gay carnivals. Didn't bother me. If they had one, I didn't go. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the fact that these silly fucking vegans design their food to look like meat, taste like meat, so they'll eat it, they might as well fucking eat meat. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to survive without meat. I wouldn't be able to sit there and eat vegetables all the time.
I love liver and onions, Friday.
You know? Humans have eaten meat since the beginning of time. Yeah, there might be a time when they couldn't, before they learned how to hunt and that you could cook fucking animals and shit. But, you know, in modern history, yeah. Kosher butchering practices are similar to halal. Yeah, I mean, I eat meat because simply I know that they're dispatched quickly and 9 times out of 10 humanely. Yeah, doesn't always work that way, but on the odd occasion, that time. But to just hang one up and slit its throat, I find that wrong. You know. And the fact that you can kill an animal humanely and hang it up and still drain the blood out of it.
But that's not right. It's got to be drained out as they die.
Pork tastes like human. It doesn't smell like human flesh when it's burning. Believe me, loafer.
It's the closest thing.
Yeah, but that's only because the pig flesh is the nearest thing to the human flesh.
Yeah, human flesh is far more like pig flesh than cow flesh or sheep flesh.
Yeah, even hedgehog tastes like chicken.
That doesn't taste like hedgehog.
I only tasted it once, but it did give me that sort of flavour of chicken. Yeah, again, you know, you don't have to eat all meats. You know, there's a lot of meat I don't particularly like. Usually it's a mixture of meats, but
yes, Gordo, me and Roger fit into that category as well.
I fit into that category all on my own. Oh, they say a packet of Angel's Delight can feed 6. Yeah, fuck off. Whole packet. Salad dish.
Yeah, but you have 2 at a time sometimes.
Bloody right. 2 packets of Angel's Delight and a pint of milk. I like to mix the flavours up in them. Yeah, but even boily burgers. I love a good burger, but I prefer the ones that Heather gets from the butcher. You know, yeah, a Mackie D's, or I prefer Burger King, to be honest. I very, very, very rarely have one, simply because of what goes into them. I mean, I don't know whether you've actually seen the experiment they started years ago where they put a Big Mac and some fries in a container. And they've been going over 10 years now, observing this, and there's not been any mould on it. Nothing's broke down. Nothing's rotted. That's kind of worrying.
But their burgers are different now. They're now made with meat. You check the adverts out. They're there. They now contain meat.
Venison is one. I'll eat it.
I love venison,
but I don't particularly enjoy it. Boar, that's a different matter. I'll quite happily eat boar.
I love a nice game pie.
Anybody else starting to get hungry? Yeah, Heather makes some very nice homemade fish cakes, Gordo. We haven't had them for a while, but she does make some very nice fish cakes.
I'm sure you're confusing me with somebody else.
No, I'm not. I know the other ones, last ones fell apart a bit, but yeah, kangaroo isn't too bad. Even crocodile. I've had a crocodile steak. But one that I've only had it a couple of times and I did enjoy it was horse meat, funny enough. Horse meat is very nice. I think it can only be sold or served in this country with a special license. They eat a lot of it in France. But yeah, horse meat I quite enjoyed. We don't use air fryers here, Flyby. But I'm going to give it another 10 minutes or so, guys. Needs a whole bag. My eyes are starting to water already. Is that where Sugar went? Sugar burger, please. I'll tell you, I don't know whether they're around the rest of the country. There's I think it was a pub chain called Walkabout, which was Australian themed. That's actually where I did try kangaroo and crocodile. The first kangaroo steak they brought out, I sent it back because the chef had covered it with a pepper sauce. And I said, no, I actually ordered it because I want to try the meat, not the sauce that's fucking overpowering it. And when I ordered the crocodile, that was about a fortnight afterwards, he actually remembered me and said, do you want the sauce on it? I said, put it in a jug on the side, I'll try a bit. But initially, I just want to try the meat. Yeah, I've had squirrel, Gordo. I've also eaten rat, would you believe? On one of the survival courses I was on many, many years ago, they taught us how to clean rat properly and eat rat. But it's like a squirrel. There's hardly any meat on it. But you know, the fact is, in a survival situation, if you're that desperate, you'll eat anything. I didn't find it very fishy, Gordo. I did find it a little bit chewy, but that might have been down to the way it was cooked. But, you know, there was a fair bit of flavour in it. Nut snackers on toast.
Well, there you go. The boys have just mentioned two dishes that I've never tried, and they're both from up north. So
what, crocodile?
No. Parmo and a whole patty.
I don't make a habit of eating them flanco, and that was the first and only time I'd done it. It was part of the course. You could have backed out, but I like to learn everything about it, and so yeah, I tried some.
I have tried shark.
Shark, you're supposed to hang for quite some time before you eat it. The only good thing about it is there's no bone in it.
Fishmonger didn't tell me to. He told me how to cook it.
I mean, if you ever ate rock salmon, or bullus as they have to call it now, that's actually shark. They are members of the shark family. I've never tried emu. I've seen it on a few menus, usually in Australian eateries, but I've never tried emu. Same as I've never tried ostrich.
Iceland keep having strange things like that crop up in their freezer. Because I keep saying to you, do you want to try this?
Puffer fish, yes, you can eat flanco, but it's like what's the other one called? Bacala. You've got to prepare it properly, because if you don't, you'll only try it the once. Yeah, I will admit, Stuart, I have tried the bugs on the courses as well. One that particularly came to mind was making the worm omelette, because they're full of vitamins. Didn't like it, but it was part of the course. So yeah, I had to have a couple of forkfuls just to try. And yeah, if you were in certain situations and that desperate and it was there, yes, I would eat it again. But it's not something I'd consider eating just for the fun of it on a survival course. There's a lot more I prefer to eat. Bulrush roots are quite nice, actually. They're full of carbs as well.
Don't eat the tops.
No, don't eat the top. They're very furry.
There's a spate of videos that keeps going around on Facebook and things where people are told to bite into the head of a reed.
Oh God, yeah, and it is like that. They explode. Now, see, I don't particularly like raw fish, Gordo. Again, you can eat it as a survival food, but it's not something I would eat for fun. I certainly wouldn't go to a sushi bar.
But I like sushi.
The only one that I didn't really enjoy it, but it wasn't too bad, was tuna, raw tuna.
Anyway, sashimi is raw fish.
Yeah, I know it is. All right, let's go back to that one, being as we've only got a few more minutes to go before I say enough is enough. Yeah, to me, again, Gordo, it's raw fish to me is a survival food. And the other thing is nowadays with the pollution in the sea, raw fish could contain anything, and it is a bad one for poisoning as well, especially shellfish. I mean, shellfish I don't eat. I have done, but I just don't like them. Smoked salmon, yeah. But again, unless it's line caught and a wild salmon, you're eating a load of chemicals and colourings, especially with farmed salmon. And what people class as a delicacy, bass, is just the same. 9 times out of 10, unless you've gone to a fishmonger's and he's got a local supplier, all of the bass you'll see in the supermarkets in this country are farmed. And believe me, if you see cod when it's just been caught and gutted. A lot of people will give up eating cod, funny enough. Because when you fillet them off, usually the flesh is absolutely full of little white worms. They're absolutely harmless to the human being, and the cooking kills them off. But they are in there, and cod, if you ask a proper fisherman what he thinks of cod, we've always called them and named them the dustbin of the sea. They will eat anything. So God knows what's inside them now, you know. And even Icelandic cod, with the way the waters have gone up there, well, all the oceans are polluted in some way or other. You know, it's... And to be honest, it doesn't matter what you eat now. It's going to have some form of chemical or pollutant in it, simply because all the water is polluted to a certain level, and the air and the feed of cattle is being grown in polluted air.
Nice to see you on a positive note tonight, Will.
Yeah, Lothar, if you look at a natural wild salmon, their flesh is almost, you know, white. There's no pink in it. That's all artificial colouring. And if you get the Nordic salmon from the farms over there, a lot of those are terribly polluted because of the pollution coming across from Russia. Some have even been checked as being quite radioactive, believe it or not. And YouTube, that is absolute fucking fact, so not misinformation there. I know that for a fact.
You're going to turn us all into vegetabilists?
Yeah, Stitch. I mean, we've caught them on the boats, cut them open. We found plastic cups, polystyrene cups in them, and fucking all sorts. They will literally eat anything. They're just a swimming dustbin. Catch salmon with your hand. Doing it with trout's easy enough, Flanco, in the streams. Trout tickling. I got taught that by a very old fella many years ago as a kid. He used to take me down the local brook and show me how to catch them. Takes some doing, mind. Top eyes are easy enough, Gordo. It's only a bit of hot glue. As long as you don't actually heat the rod up itself, because that breaks the fibres down, the glue that holds the fibres together. Melt away. But use just a bit of hot glue and then tip it off with a little bit of whipping. I always found uptide rods were too short for shore fishing. And the way some idiots used to wave them around on boats, they're too long for some boat fishing as well. I've even tried fly fishing at sea. And that is good fun for bass. Even mackerel, they're good fun on a fly rod. We had one lad catching tope with them, but I wouldn't like to try that. Right, guys, I'm going to call that it. I really don't feel up to going on tonight. Just my eyes are starting again. That's my biggest problem. I'm awake, but I'm struggling to see things. I just snap the tip off a bit. Yeah, just get a bigger sized fitting on it, Gordo. I used to have boxes of them. But guys, that's been absolutely brilliant tonight. We've had quite some good discussions in there. You know, I always do my little bit with the news and that at the beginning, get that out of the way. You know, and it's there if anybody wants to bring it up. But we've covered quite a few topics tonight. Hopefully a few people have learnt the odd thing or two. But 15, no, it depends on the make of it, Gordo.
I was going to say for a duck egg.
No, he's on about fishing rods.
What?
I was talking to Gordo. He was on about the fishing rod he bought. Then all of a sudden you've come in with duck eggs.
Flyby bought some duck eggs, 50p an egg.
But no, they're easy enough to change. You know, just take the tip section into your local angling shop and they'll match you up the right tip eye for it. Because again, it will depend whether you're using braid or mono on what eye you fit. So didn't learn a thing. Fair enough. Shakespeare. Yeah, bit of an economy, mate. But yeah, I've used Shakespeare in the past. But anyway, guys, I'm going to call that it. Thank you very much for your company tonight. Thank you to Mrs. W for doing a bit of research there when I couldn't remember the name of books and authors.
I shall bring some quiz questions to put into the chat for those that want to play.
Well, there you go. So, and maybe Mrs. W might do a quiz night at some point. But I just find it too much to do. It's like having the panel every week. But yeah, next week I may open up the panel for an hour or so. We'll see how we go. I will be. Oh no, I've got a Venus section Monday, and I should be all right. Right, guys. Thank you very much, everybody. Very, very respectful in the chat as ever. I do enjoy that fact. As I've always said, you know, there aren't many live streams out there where everybody respects everybody as much as they do in here. And that's why I don't mind it being a small little group being in here. And it's easier to manage. But have yourself a good week. Look after each other if you've got people to look after you as well. And until the next time we meet, as always, good night from me.
Good night from me.
And stay safe, stay strong, stay free. Respects everybody. Stay wicked.